Okay, very good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Director CSIBER, Dr. S.P. Rath, the management and the staff members of CSIBER for organizing this international conference in collaboration with University of Vavuniya, Sri Lanka, University of Technology, Mauritius. Before getting into the keynote speech topic, I would like to say a few things about the theme of this conference, the changing world. The timely topic because the changes keep happening everywhere. Changes are inconsistent in terms of the direction as well as the magnitude. The global community is facing challenges on handling the environmental changes. The environmental changes are connected to the socio-economic attributes of the human society. So the handling of the changes becoming a challenge, in my keynote speech topic, I am going to talk about the global environmental challenges and the contemporary strategies to overcome those challenges. To start up with, we ourselves, the human society, as shown in the figure in the left side, the gradual increase in the human population has recorded over last 4 decades, and it is expected to keep increasing in the upcoming decades and the centuries. However, there are few discrepancies in the rate of population growth. The right side figure shows the gross domestic production, the rate or the growth rate of gross domestic production among different regions of the world. So from these two figures, it's obvious that to support the increasing human population globally, there is an essential need for the industrial production. Indeed, the energy is a prerequisite for all sort of industrial production. The given diagram shows the energy consumption by source for the period of 1965 to 2020. From this figure, we can get the point that the oil and the coal are the major forms of energy sources which have widely been used for the industrial production and other forms of human activities. Apart from that, here you can see the use of other renewable forms of energy sources as well. However, those energy sources have been started to be used after 2000, year 2000, right? From this figure, we can get clear that so the industrial production and the human survival or the human needs are closely connected to the fossil fuels or non-renewable forms of energy sources. The use of the non-renewable energy sources make challenges in the availability as well as they poses many environmental impacts. To move on, in this unprecedented era of global climate change, the global warming is an alarming phenomenon which is characterized by the gradual increase in the atmospheric temperature over last centuries. So the global warming phenomenon is scientifically explained using the greenhouse gas effect, which means the effect that caused by the excessive addition of the greenhouse gases, namely the carbon dioxide, methane, chlorofluorocarbon, and the nitrous oxide. So the given diagrams shows the global greenhouse gas emissions by gas So the proposition of the each type of gas for the greenhouse effect, and the diagram on the right shows the reason why the gas emissions are happening. Here you can see, shown by the blue and the purple color, the electricity and the heat production and the industry are the major sectors which requires more energy sources than of other sort of human purposes. So as a result of the greenhouse effect, the global warming phenomenon happens. In addition to the increase in the atmospheric temperature, global warming has the impacts, or it increases the chances of the stochastic weather events such as drought, flooding, and the increased incidences of the disasters. Right? There can be several types of disasters as a result of the global warming. Apart from the impact of that global warming, by means of the other forms of environmental pollution, namely the water pollution, air pollution, land pollution, radioactive pollution, there are many sources of environmental pollution, results in several environmental impacts. Those impacts include the scarcity of resources. The scarcity can be defined in terms of quality and the quantity of the resources available. So the water, in terms of water, we are using the water for several purposes. The water quality matters. For the industrial production, the quality required is differ from the household users. So there are challenges in obtaining the water with the required quality and the quantity for the human needs. Likewise, there is a scarcity for several environmental resources. The environmental pollution scenario results the health impacts, not only to the human being, but also to the other living creatures in our environment. In addition, it has its characteristic impact on the agricultural production as well as on the loss of biodiversity. If these scenarios keep happening, then at some point the livability or the existence of the global community may become a challenge. Therefore, we are in a purpose of finding the solutions. Here I have got the icons, the media icons what we use in our day-by-day life to elaborate the potential options what we have to handle the environmental challenges what we are facing. So on the left side, the buttons, the previous and the rewind. So the applicability of these buttons are related to the nature of the environmental change. Some environmental changes are reversible while others are irreversible. It depends upon the nature of the environmental resource and the extent of damage or the extent of degradation made by the man-made activities. So, it is hard, regardless of the advancement in the science and technology, it is hard for the global community to go for the previous option. We cannot 100% restore our environment. Likewise, rewinding option also, it's hard, right? At the middle, the play and the pause, we can come to that after. Then the next. So, we have already started experiencing the impacts of anthropogenic activities on the environment. Ourselves, we degraded the environment and we started experiencing the environmental problems. So, pressing the next button would be a detrimental action which cause the extinction of the human society from this planet. No one knows, right? And stop. So as we have seen in the first slide, there is a gradual increase in the population. So we cannot stop. We cannot deplenish the human society from the planet. Right? So we are trying to identify the ways to minimize or mitigate the impacts what we are currently facing. So at the middle, we have the force option and the play option. The play option means we do as what we are currently doing. If it is happening on that rate, definitely we will be having more challenges. Not less challenges, more challenges in future. Force option is also hard because it's roughly like the stop option, right? So the resources are required for the survival or the existence of global community. Global community includes both the human beings and the other living creatures. There have been several initiatives have been taken globally to overcome the challenges or the changes what we are currently facing. Next, the sustainable industrial development. I would like to thank to Mr. Vivek Deshpande sir because he has explained the technical side of sustainable industrial development. So sustainable industrial development is a dynamic balance of global environmental change, human development and the human well-being. Or this can be explained. The sustainable industrial development is characterized by the social acceptance, environmental friendliness and the economic viability. So by means of or by fulfilling all these requirements, we have the choice of going for the sustainable industrial development. By considering the impact of the environmental pollution or the environmental challenges, there have been 3 goals have already been added to the sustainable development goals. The goal 6, goal 13 and goal 15, which are for the clean water and sanitation, climate action and life on land respectively. Here are the certain milestones of environmental management, right? By means of understanding the potential impacts that could happen in future, that is happening by now, there have been initiatives taken by the international authorities to conserve our environment. So the first one, it starts from United Nations Conference on Human Environment. It is called the Stockholm Convention. It starts from 1972. Likewise, there are other milestones from the year 1992, the Rio de Janeiro one, and then 1997, the Kyoto Protocol. These names are mainly based on the cities where the declarations were made. Likewise, we have the Paris Agreement. It was declared in 2015 in France. There are 196 countries being the member of it. The mode of operation under these strategies are based on the standards. If a country wanted to be a member of these conventions, then they must have to fulfill the standards required by that particular convention. So the governments of respective countries are trying to incorporate the requirements of these conventions into their legislations. So here I have listed a few of the contemporary strategies which have already been implemented globally. First one, as per the Kyoto Protocol, there are 2 important things to discuss: the clean development mechanism and the emission trading system. The second one is the cleaner production, the environmental management systems and ISO 14001, and finally the green industries. Firstly, the clean development mechanisms. So there are different pathways to manufacture a product, right? So the manufacturing of product is connected to the raw materials, production processes, and the product quality, right? So there are conventional methods of material manufacturing and the innovational methods of material manufacturing. So under the CDM, the concept is the cooperation among the countries. So there are disparities in the economic status, technical expertise among the different types of countries. So as per the CDM concept of the Kyoto Protocol, the countries started sharing the knowledge, expertise, and the financial infrastructure for maintaining the environmental friendly manufacturing processes in the respective countries. So here the priority is given to the energy projects, because as we have seen in the first two slides, so we are emitting more carbon dioxide and the greenhouse gases for the purpose of energy generation. So therefore the CDM insists for the shifting in energy projects. So here are some examples for the projects which can be eligible for the CDM projects. So under CDM project, the environmental performance is ensured by the implementing country will develop a proposal or develop a industrial plan to avoid the environmental impacts by the proposed manufacturing. So CDM has already been implemented in India. So the National CDM Authority is the institutional body that handles the implementation of CDM practices in India. So there are several steps involved in, and here I have included two projects. So the size of the projects differ, right? So the examples I have included here are from the Andhra Pradesh and the Kolhapur Pradesh of India. They are actually for the household level projects. So substituting the light types used for the light generation, substituting using the energy efficient bulbs, so bulbs for the light generation. So here the table source from Singh et al. 2015 showing the number of projects which have been implemented under CDM. So here India is on forefront. So this reference is from 2015. I couldn't get the updated ones, so that's why I have used this. So 29 projects, and they have mentioned the different types. So here it's based on the renewable energy concept, right? So for renewable energy, the development projects that related to the renewable energy things have been approved under the CDM. Then the next concept is carbon rating and the carbon footprint. So emission rating is a system that introduced by the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and the UNFCCC, the United Nations Framework for Convention on Climate Change. So both of these institutions are connected to the carbon trading system. So carbon trading system is a monetary incentive for companies to reducing their carbon emission. So it's crystal clear that the industrial manufacturing emit more pollutants, especially the greenhouse gases, into the atmosphere. So to reduce, the industries are expected to purchase the carbon credits based on the amount of greenhouse gases they are emitting, not only the carbon dioxide, the remaining gases. So one carbon credit allows the emission of 1 ton of carbon dioxide, And there is another concept that is called the global warming potential. That is a measure of the equivalent amount of other greenhouse gases under the greenhouse effect, right? I don't want to make it more technical. So the carbon credits are not only for the carbon dioxide, but also for the other forms of greenhouse gases. The carbon offset. So the solution for a problem can be achieved by two different types of way. One is avoiding the causes by not to release much amount of the greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, or by removing or sequestrating the added gases from the atmosphere. So the carbon trading system accounts for both the addition as well as the emission of carbon dioxide or the other greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. In India, the National Carbon Management Association handles the carbon neutral things. The next concept is the cleaner production. So cleaner production is the continuous application of integrated preventive environmental strategies applied to the processes, products and services to increase the overall efficiency and reduce the risk to the human and the environment. And each and every mechanism, each and every strategy, we are trying to minimize the environmental impacts. The way of implementation only differs, right? So the cleaner production, the goals of the cleaner production can be achieved through the efficient use of energy and the resources, on-site recovery or reuse of the materials. So the on-site recovery and reuse refers to the waste minimization as well as the resource maximization. So likewise, there are other ways through which the cleaner production can be achieved. So here are some benefits of the cleaner production. While the implementation of the cleaner production, there are many challenges. As we all know, if we wanted to make a good change, we may have to spend a bit more than of making an action without any good response, right? So there are many barriers. I don't want to spell it out. So by going through the bullets, you can understand the type of barriers I would like to say. While there are CP motivators, so the cleaner production implementation in India, so the cleaner production practices have already been adopted for small, medium and large scale industries in India. There have been studies conducted on the efficacy or the usefulness or the potential chances for the implementation or adoption of the cleaner production practices for different types of industries. So the environment management system, so it's a framework that helps to the organizations to maintain their standards, right? So there are certain conditions, so there are certain requirements for fulfilling the environmental management system things. And the ISO 14001 is the certification system that is used to certify an organization which follows the standards or the requirements of the environmental management system. So the green industries is a growing concept now. So the concept of green industry is based on three important principles: improving the production efficiency, enhancing the environmental performance, and minimizing the health risk. So the green industry concept is implemented in such a way. So the greening of industries and creating green industry. So the changes can be done in two different ways. One is the changes can be, or the modifications can be done on the existing industrial manufacturing, or by incorporating the innovative things in a new industry. So here the the rectangle on the left hand side is for greening of existing industries, and then the ways to creating the green industries. So there are benefits and barriers with the green industries. Here are few of them. And the green industry initiatives have taken in India long back. And here are some startups and projects that are already been implemented in India. Green industries not only for the industrial manufacturing of products, but also for the service providing industries. So this is my summary. Thanks everyone.
Thank you so much, sir.
I am happy to answer one or two questions.
Any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I'm from faculty member also, and I have some requests from the press yesterday who had come about your topic. Now, we used to read and talk about greenhouse effect since long, but now the thing has come to everybody's experience. So, awareness is over now. Everybody's experiencing it. So, common people want to know how to interpret the changing experience and how to face it in terms of this greenhouse effect things which you explained. Because your presentation talks about how we can change the industry, that industrial revolution, reverting it back to normal. Yes. But now people are facing, like you said, disaster. For Kolhapur, for example, we had great floods in 2018-19. And also we are facing a change of temperature also locally. So is there any scope and is there any way out you have thought of, like, because you are a third party observer from your side to our country to solve this problem. We want a common man's answer because it is from press.
Okay. It's an interesting question. Thanks for asking. So as I mentioned, the major cause for the greenhouse effect is the fossil fuels, right? Burning of fossil fuels added up the carbon dioxide and the other form of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. So indeed, India has a large population, and it has a large population of the automobiles. I don't know how many brands are in India, but there are many, right? So the automobile industry is an important part of the human life. So definitely we cannot sacrifice the emission of greenhouse gases emission into the atmosphere. Maybe we can start thinking of shifting from fossil fuel based to hybrid based. So the hybrid automobiles are currently in use. So I'm not sure whether you have that implemented the project or not. Some countries, they reduce the taxation for the hybrid vehicles and the electric vehicles, right? And promotes the public to purchase it. I can tell a real world scenario. In Sri Lanka, the importing of vehicle is banned for last 2-3 years. However, you are allowed to import the electric cars. But no one is buying. Do you know the reason why? Because the change should be made at a larger scale. If 2 or 3 people import the vehicle, then the repairing is going to be a challenge. So people are happy to afford money for importing the electric vehicle, then they have a barrier. So likewise, a shift can be done from fossil fuel based to electric powered or hybrid powered vehicles in India. As India has many automobile industry, for India it's not going to be a challenge. And the next thing, the public transport system. When the people have got the feel of satisfaction on transporting on the public system, then, or by practicing the pooling of cars, right? So the people from a same organization can share one vehicle to avoid the fuel things, right? So that is another way of contributing for minimizing the greenhouse gas effect. So at the household levels, shifting from burning of the firewood or burning of what you call the other form of fuels like kerosene and all, or the LPG, even the LPG, the transformation can be done. So there are many different types of energy efficient cooking stuffs are in market. So from the household level, this can happen. At the nationwide, the transformation from fuel based to non-renewable based to the renewable based would be benefiting the country.